December. It's JayR McIntyre. Welcome to the Motivators Table Podcast, Season 3. And we got a huge guest today. But thank you guys for tuning in, chat. Hey, all my new community, all my new customers, all my new clients, all my new followers. Thank you for just tapping in with me. Thank you to Los Angeles Tribune Podcast for finding me and signing me in 2025. That was a great gift for me, and I can't wait to show them what I have. This is my season 3 of the Motivators Table. We have a huge guest today. We have a real huge guest today. You guys should just get your water, get your snacks, and pull up and listen to this. We have Mr. Joseph Casarino. How you doing, sir? What's going on? Tell us about you. How you?
I'm doing great, JR, especially since I met you because you talk about motivation, my friend. Your energy, it just trickles down. And, although I'm a businessman, JR, my whole life, dropped out of college because my first business started growing and became successful. And I built companies that way. But I've also been a quasi motivational speaker myself. Excuse me, let me just get the tickle out of the throat.
Yes.
I've always been a sort of motivational speaker myself, JR,
Okay.
because I love to uplift people.
Okay.
Because the way I've done it, and I dropped out of college because my success just started coming very early. But how did that come? Not from my academic, JR. It
Mm-hmm.
came from my alignment and my intuition and my alignment with God and nature and the oneness.
Right.
Some people don't like that word God. Okay, if you don't like the word God, let's call it the universe.
Right.
If you don't like God, I think God is a loving energy. I think God is inside every cell, every person, every leaf, every tree, every animal, every fish, bird, planet. I think God is universal. It's a loving energy, and it's a higher consciousness that when you tap into that, you become unlimited. And I
Right.
listen to you, JR, and I listen to your stories, and I've had you on some of my own radio shows and podcasts and etc. And I bring you on because you, my friend, are tapping into something, even if you don't know it. Okay, you're tapping into it because, yeah, now I'm an older guy and I'm successful, and I've been successful pretty much most of my life. But let me tell you what comes with success, JR, and your audience knows this: loss and pain. We all have some loss and we all have some pain, and we don't know where it's coming. It could be a war, it could be a divorce, it could be an economic collapse, it could be a health issue, it could be anything that comes out of the blue, and it brings you down and it takes you down, and all of a sudden you were up on top, and now you have nothing. And
Right.
guess what, my friend? I've been there a couple times. Okay, I was almost homeless 15 years ago after being a millionaire my whole life, living in $1 million homes, driving sports cars, uh, riding $200,000 speedboats, and all that. And I lost it all by a court error, by a mistake. It wasn't even supposed to happen. And when I couldn't eat again, and I had a toothache, and I went to the dentist 15 years ago, and I begged them to do some pro bono work, guess what? No, we don't do that. That was painful. That hurts. I need some help, and nobody will help me because I don't have any money. I can't afford anything. I couldn't even afford to eat at the end of the week. Okay, but somehow I crawled my way out. I started getting some crumbs of a little crumbs that I had, little something I could use some money from this, take some money from that, how I could put some money together and parlay it and build it up and get back into the game.
And that's
Well, I did that. I did that twice already since 15 years. I became successful again, mega successful all over again. Okay.
right.
But that's not the point. The point is, when I couldn't eat, very few people were there for me. So I learned to be humbled, and I learned how to give back. And that's why I do the work I do now for the doctor that I represent, that came out with this scientific breakthrough called ProImmune. It's a ProImmune Immune Formulation 200. It's much more than an immune booster. It just strengthens the immune system so much so that when people don't know this, I was just talking to a couple doctors about this. Most people don't realize every chronic illness, every sickness, including PTSD, including TBI, including CTE, including neurological disorders, it all stems from root causes of a few things. It's the trauma. Well, in TBI, you have an injury to the head, as you know, JR. You get a blunt force to the head, and when you get that blunt force, before the TBI occurs, your your glutathione inside your cells stopped being produced. You stop producing glutathione inside the cell as soon as the injury comes to the head. Talking about the head trauma now. Once that glutathione no longer is replenishing, you're not getting oxygen, enough oxygen to the cells of the brain. And
Right.
when you don't have enough oxygen, the cell starts to die and decay. And the phase two of the TBI occurs. It's called the secondary event of the TBI.
Right.
It's the secondary event that hurts you, JR. That's what hurt you when you were in war. It
Right.
wasn't the first blow to the head. It was by not treating it properly and not addressing it properly that the cells started to die. Some trauma came in, stayed in, loss of oxygen, and then you probably had to do something called hyperbaric oxygen therapy, I would imagine. Did you do that?
Yeah. I did a lot of that modalities and stuff like that. But before we get into that real quick, I want to stop you. I want to know, like, everybody knows who Joseph Casarino is and they know exactly how he came about. I want to tap into who you were as an inner child. Who was Joseph as a child? Can we talk about that?
Well, Joseph, as a child, was a young boy that was an orphan till I was 2 years old. So I was in orphan homes. And then I was adopted at 2 years old by a beautiful mom and dad, John and Lucy Casarino, my parents, who were blue collar mostly, but God loving, beautiful, good people. And they adopted me and my sister and gave us um, a cute blue collar lifestyle, but a clean home, education, love, um, values. They taught us the values, and my whole family was about, my aunts, my uncles, everybody was about values, and they were teaching us how to, me and my sister, how to be good people, and we had the best education and the best food. We weren't rich, I could tell you that. We lived, in a modest, in a modest area, but it wasn't the money that made me who I was. It was the teachings of my mom and dad, their values. I'm going to tell you something, JR, why I dropped out of college. When I built my first company, do you know what made me a success?
What's
My
that?
organizational skills. Okay, my organizational skills that my father taught me. Keep everything organized, keep everything clean. And as my first company, when I was 20 years old and I built my first company, and my company was growing 20% a year for several years, it was growing so quick I couldn't keep up with it. But you know how I kept up with it?
Mm.
Organizational skills. Because I was an organized person, well, that company blew up to be a major company back in the day, doing $8 million a year with 136 people working for me. But when you build a company and you have an office, you only have so much space. But all this business is coming in and you have limited space. And the only way to survive in a limited space, because you don't have time to build a new building, is to stay organized. So I stayed organized. But getting back to my childhood, because I had the foundation, and then, when I was 17 years old, I decided to move out on my own. I didn't like my father telling me, "Hey, you're 17 years old. I don't want no girls in the house. I want you to be home at 10 o'clock every night. I want you to be in bed by 11." And I'm like going on 18 years old, and I'm saying, "Shh, and I got to give you $25 a week. I got to pay you rent. I
Right.
mean, I might as well go get my own place."
Right. Right.
Did
Right.
I go rented a room? I rented a room, and guess what? I couldn't eat again. There was no money to eat at the end of the week. I was lucky. Come Sunday afternoon, I could get a grilled cheese sandwich for 55 cents back in the day because the roast beef and the ham was $1 for the sandwich. But I
Right.
could scrape up 50 cents and I could eat on Sunday. But little by little, I worked, I hustled, I worked, and I built my company, and then I took off from there. But that's my childhood. Now, I did have a wonderful sister, Jeannie, 2 years older than me, who was a good sister. Took me everywhere. I was a dumb kid, JR. I was just dumb, 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 dumb as could be. No common sense, no confidence, just a dumb kid. And my sister was so good to me and kind to me and took me everywhere. And because I had a good sister, good parents, I grew up and I matured and I started reading books in my 20s. Every motivational book that you could think of, I started reading. Don't laugh at me, please, but one of the first was Trump's The Art of the Deal. Don't laugh.
The art of
You
the
know,
deal. Yep.
but
I said I
but
know. That's the art of the deal. Yep.
The Art of the Deal. Then I read Lee Iacocca's book called Iacocca. Lee Iacocca took Chrysler, that was a failing Chrysler company back in the day, and he turned it around with his visionary ideas to come up with something called the K car. But he told me how he did it in the book and different business practices. And I'm learning from Trump and I'm learning from Iacocca. Then I'm reading other books. Did you ever read the book The Road Less Traveled
Yes, I
by
have.
Dr.
Yes.
Scott M. Peck, yeah.
Yes.
And I started reading these type of books, and I educated myself, you know, and as I was building companies, and that's about how I got to where I am today, as from the childhood.
Mm, I love that. I love how you transition into all that and understanding who you were. And as a child, you knew that this was, you know what I'm saying, you kind of hone in on that special gift that you had, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I always want to talk about the inner child and what made you go to what you're doing now. But who were you before? Who were you before all the turmoil happened? You know, you say you was adopted and you had a beautiful family and everything like that, and then you ran into some trials, tribulations with your father. You know, and a lot of us as kids, you know what I'm saying, once we get in our teens, especially the boys, we start bumping heads with the older boys, with the you know, some of the older gentlemen in our lives, and but not knowing that. I did the same thing. My dad's my best friend now, but I used to think my dad hated me because how he used to treat me. He was so disciplined. He wouldn't let me do certain things, but at the end of the day, he's the reason why I'm here right now. So your dad and your mom, your foster parents is the reason why you're doing what you're doing now, and traveling and speaking and developing this type of confidence that you have in you, especially way before the pro immune. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh, long before the Promium, long
yes,
before.
well,
I'd
well,
like to interrupt a minute because you hit the nail on the head. Um, my entire success comes from my background and my upbringing and my alignment with God. I always knew as a young boy that my intuition and my trust, my trust factor. I
mm,
could trust God. I could trust everything's going to be okay. I don't have to spend my life in fear, worrying like many of your friends who have PTSD from wounds of combat. This is trauma. Maybe they've been so beaten up in war, maybe in childhood, maybe their dad was an alcoholic who beat them. We don't know the stories, but these traumas don't leave so quickly, JR.
mm,
Okay. They don't leave so quickly, but I've had my own traumas. I've gone through my own hardships and wars, so to speak. But what got me through was knowing that I could overcome anything. I'm going to tell you something, JR. I wish I had time to get it, but I don't want to leave the screen. I should have wore it right now. I made a T-shirt a couple of years back. You know what it says? It's
go
a
get it.
black T-shirt. What?
Go get it.
Stay right there.
All right, I'm right here. I hold the crowd ready. They still listening. Hey, what you guys' understanding is this is just few. This is a good conversation, and I don't want you guys to tune out. I want you guys to understand, tap in what you're listening to. Joseph Casarina is about to walk us down the yellow brick road real quick, and he's going to show us exactly how he got to where he is at right now. So thank you guys for being patient at the motivators table. We all just pulled up a seat at the motivators table. So boom, Joseph's about to come back right now. And we can start taking chats, DMs. It's live right now, and in LinkedIn it's live right now on YouTube. If you got any questions to ask Joseph, you could tap right in.
Okay, let's see if you could see it now. I put it on.
Here we go. What does it say now?
I am the solution.
I am the solution. Okay,
Okay. I am the solution. You know what that means, JR?
tell me what that means.
Not that I'm arrogant and I know everything because I'm smarter than you. No, not me, the solution.
Yeah.
I am the solution that I have the ability to tap into the one, God,
Mm,
energy, love, whatever you want to call it, the one. The one comes to me. The energy comes to me. The intuition comes to me. In other words, JR, I could solve any problem.
right.
You could beat me up tomorrow, and I'm coming back winning a week later
Yes.
because the solution, I figure it out. Who figured it out better than anybody? Dr. JR McIntyre.
There it is. The
There
solution.
it is. Bam, bam, boom. Okay. You
And-
figured it out because you can't experience what you've experienced in your lifetime and
right.
be where you are today with the respect and the degrees and everything that you have. You can't achieve that if you're not your own solution. And if people knew this, if everyone knows that they could tap into their own consciousness, rise above it,
Rise above it.
rise above everything. There
Hmm.
is no holding me down. Let me tell you what a survivor I am. Remember, I told you a while back, 15 years ago, I couldn't eat. And
Right.
when I had to go to the dentist, they said, no, can't help you.
Right.
JR, I was so poor, I couldn't eat at the end of the week. And at that time, I was 55 years old, okay?
Hmm.
You try to be 55 years old, losing your millions, and you can't eat at the end of the week, you want to jump off a bridge. Okay.
Real, yeah.
Yeah, for real. But I didn't. I figured out how to survive. And listen to this story. You're going to get a kick out of this one.
I'm
So I
listening.
live in the Hudson Valley, New York, 90 minutes north of New York City. And where I live, we have something called a community garden. And I go out to nature every day, and I walk and I exercise and I talk to God every day. And one day I'm passing by the community garden on my way to the nature trail, and I see this is in January, and I
Hmm.
see some frozen Brussels sprouts and kale. You know, the kale bush, whatever you call it, the kale,
Right,
the vegetable, in the
right.
ground with frost on it. And then next to it, I see Brussels sprouts on the ground with frost on it. And I said to myself, "Oh, gee, this is frozen dinner right here. This is like me going to the supermarket and buying some frozen Brussels sprouts and some kale. This is
Yes.
my dinner for the next 2 months."
This is
So I hacked it off, picked it off, took it home, put it in my refrigerator, and I mix in that now with a little pasta. Okay, a little, what do you call those pasta? Robati, whatever they are, whatever
yeah,
the pasta is called, little pasta shells, whatever.
yeah.
I'm cooking the pasta, mixing the Brussels sprouts, little olive oil. Bam! I got me a dinner for free.
There you
I
go.
survived, JR. I'm a survivor
There you go. Survive.
until I could get a part-time job making, minimum wage, and then I could afford to eat again. You know what I mean? And then with that minimum wage, I saved some money and I invest it and I parlay the money and keep going and going and going. But that's what I mean when I say I'm the solution. What other questions do you have?
I love that too because that's how you walked us up on that problem right now. Everybody don't understand that you are the solution to your own problems and to the problems that you can fix. And you cannot fix anybody else's problem until you become your own solution. So that T-shirt is very strong and that T-shirt is very wise and is very confident in saying that. You need to say that I am the solution. People look at us and we public figures and see that we have a lot going on, but not knowing that hey, sometimes we cannot find a solution to our own problems. Sometimes we mask so much to cover up what we go through. People don't know I go through depression, thoughts, all these craziness, PTSD, TBI all the time. All the time, way before I met you, way before I started taking Pro Immune, way before I started just, what I'm saying, making that a part of my lifestyle. People see that, okay, he got this, he got that, but not knowing that, hey, I had to go through all these trials and tribulations to find a solution. But deep down inside, I am the solution. So I
I
appreciate
am the solution. That's
the
right. So,
solution.
getting back to say the ProMune. Now, I've come out of retirement a couple of years ago, JR. I didn't do it for the money. Okay. Because I became successful again and I know how to parlay my money, I could just parlay my money over and over again and never work again.
Right.
But I chose not to do that. Now I work 12 hours a day, travel every 2 weeks across the country, sacrifice my time, giving it up my time so I don't see my wife and my family much anymore because I'm giving my time to be of service to others.
Right.
That's why I do the work because I know I am the solution and I have a gift. I have something that I could offer other people. And this ProMune is such a life-changing scientific breakthrough, improving every chronic illness. I'd like to mention, by the way, for your audience, they could read about this on thebestimmunesupport.com. So if they didn't hear that, I'll say it again slowly. All the science, all the testimonials. I think you gave me a testimonial too,
Yes,
JR.
I did.
It's called thebestimmunesupport.com. It's not just an immune support; it really does everything. But you may not know this, JR. But did you know almost every chronic illness um, is a result of a weakened immune system? If
Mm.
your immune system is peak, performing optimally, that's what this little jar ProMune does, by the way. It peaks your immune system that you wouldn't have oxidative stress in the cell. You wouldn't have inflammation. You wouldn't have heavy metals of war, wounds of war from heavy metals, because this takes it all out. This is a heavy metal chelation. This is an antioxidant. This is a master detoxifier to take out microplastics, glyphosate, and heavy metal. And here's a little kicker your audience doesn't know, and you probably don't even know this either. One of the drivers today that's causing many, many chronic illnesses, including something called NAFLD,
Mhm.
non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, that maybe 10%, 20% of the people have today, is stemming from the microplastics in the air that we don't see and the food wrappings. Every beer can has plastics in the beer can. Every soda can, plastic. Starbucks. I get a cup of tea at Starbucks every day. Guess what? That cup is full of microplastics. We don't see it, but we're leaching it all. We're breathing it. We're drinking it. We're eating it. That's causing inflammation in the cells of the brain, bringing in the microplastics. We've got the heavy metals from the air and the water. Did you know, JR, when it rains, it's raining aluminum? And every drop of water has aluminum and heavy metals in it. Did
Wow.
you know that?
I did
That's
not
a
know.
fact.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Then you wonder why a gentleman like yourself that's been to war and combat, and you're having a tough time getting mitigating the PTSD and the TBI. You're having a tough time because you still got heavy metals inside of you. You've still got microplastics coming into you. But you already told me several times this month you're taking this formula to mitigate your toxic overload, and you're witnessing the difference like every other veteran, every other athlete, every other customer. If your audience reads the website, thebestimmunesupport.com, they're
Yes.
going to see testimony after testimonial of how everybody's improving their health because we're addressing the root cause.
Definitely, and I want you to explain a little bit more about ProImmune. This is why I brought you on to let my community know my niche. Everybody asks me, Gerald, like, who do you speak for? What is your niche? And it's everybody. So anybody who pulls up a seat at the motivated table, everybody's there listening and want to pay attention to what's going on. So let's dive deep into the ProImmune.
Well, like I said, ProMune, it's a glutathione synthesis. Nothing like it on the planet. Your audience might even know. Some people might be saying, "Oh, I take glutathione," or "I take NAC, which is a glutathione precursor." So some people might be familiar with it, but what they don't know is both of those products that they buy on a shelf in any store is synthetic, man-made, trying to make the glutathione inside the cell the way you're already making it. Every cell, every fish, every bird, every mammal, every tree, every plant, every insect, every living cell has glutathione in it already. The toxic overload takes it down, eats it up, sucks it out of our cells. And unless we replenish it with the only glutathione product on the market, that's why this is a scientific breakthrough, by the way. This doctor, over 10 years of research, he's a scientist and an MD, discovered how the cell makes its own glutathione. That's what's in the jar. It's called nature in a jar because
Mm,
he figured out the precise minute ratio of three amino acids in the proper ratio and formula of how every human cell makes its glutathione. So, JR, when you take your own Promune, all you're doing is putting back what the microplastics and the heavy metals are sucking out of you. You can't make it quick enough anymore because of toxic overload. Promune puts it back into the cell. Once it puts it back into the cell, all of the patients that take it, well, let me not say all because there might be a 1% or 2% that maybe have so many chronic illnesses going on or so many multiple illnesses going on that maybe this can't even help that. Do you know what I mean, JR? There
yes,
are
I do.
people that could have, maybe someone has breast cancer and then they have a thyroid dysfunction and then they got PTSD and maybe they have so many things going on that no, maybe this wouldn't help them. But 99% of the people that take this that don't have like multiple things going on, this is it. Because um, let's go back to science for a quick minute, if I have a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go back to life, JR.
Well,
When creation happened, before we were living cells, because I don't know if you know this, in science, you had a
right,
non-living cell, and then all of a sudden the cell became alive.
right.
How did that happen? It happened with frequencies of the universe. We call that God. The
Hmm.
frequencies changed. The glutathione put put the glutathione inside the cell, okay? And once the glutathione was inside a non-living cell, now we had a life form. We had life form 3.5 billion years ago. You and I weren't human back then. There were no humans. There were no birds and fish yet. But that happened over evolution of 3.5 billion years of evolution. And here we are talking today in the year 2026, where we've become living we have living trees, we have living fish, we have living birds and insects and mammals and humans, and we have all this, but we're all grossly depleted of glutathione. When you put it back into the cell, we are restoring what the toxic overload took out, and we are improving almost every chronic illness, according to every doctor recommending this across the country. All the docs that took the time to read the research, most docs would say, no, I don't need this. I got NAC. No, I don't need this. We have glutathione. They didn't take the time to understand this is not glutathione.
Right.
This is the precursor of exactly how you make your own glutathione the right way, the way nature and God designed it to be. All those other products out there, they're great marketing tools, by the way. Oh, we got the best glutathione. Oh, there's nothing better than this. We've got the best delivery system. Are you going to tell me you designed your glutathione, JR, better than God?
No.
I don't think you can. I don't think if you're a scientist or a doctor or an MD, I don't think anybody can. Nobody could trump nature. That's what ProImmune is.
Right.
And they could learn all that on the bestimmunesupport.com if they're interested. If anybody wants to see what this is and read all the testimonials. But more importantly, what I'm excited about, JR,
Yes.
veterans.
Okay.
Veterans, okay? I have a soft spot for veterans because I work with them.
Okay.
I've been to the Department of Defense with this. I've worked with HBOT for Heroes. Some of your friends may know them in North Carolina. HBOT for Heroes is a big, big center where a veteran can go in there and they have grants and they'll give you the PTSD treatments of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And with every treatment for hyperbaric oxygen therapy, they give you the ProImmune. Why? Because this mitigates the waste byproducts of the increases of oxygen. Did
Mm.
you know when you do HBOT, you're increasing oxygen so much so in your cells that oxygen becomes toxic?
Wow.
There's something inside the cell when you do HBOT. When you increase oxygen in the cell, oxygen is toxic. You
Right.
need to take out the toxic waste byproducts. Bingo. That's what this does.
Mm.
So people that take HBOT with this, oh, their PTSD and their TBI is improving rapidly because they're addressing the root causes. Make sense?
Right. That makes a lot of sense, and I love how you explain it. I love how you are so you love this is your product. This is what you're doing. This is what you stand behind, and I love that the fact that you're doing it for the veterans. We need so much more resources other than just here take these medicines and call us back later, right? I when I first got out, I was issued about 13 to 16 medications, and I was a zombie. One of them was Seroquel, and I was overweight, just wanted to eat and sleep, didn't want to do anything, and I didn't want to feel like that anymore. I didn't want to go through all that stuff. I didn't think I deserved to be on all these huge medications. It was making my conditions worse. So now, fast forward to now, and you recommended me Pro Immune last year. I started taking it about 8 months ago, and
Yeah.
I feel okay. I feel good. I feel energetic. I feel clarity. I feel that okay, I can fight to live to see another day. It helps me. I stand behind it, especially for the veterans that are suffering with PTSD and TBI. You know.
When I was invited by the Secretary of Defense to the Pentagon, and I actually met 7 of their top scientists recently to discuss ProImmune. And throughout the conversation, it was a long conversation, over an hour, and they were talking about the medicines that they use for veterans. And I said to all the scientists, I said, with all due respect, this is my second visit to the Department of Defense, and you know what? All my friends that are veterans, they're still suffering with these medications. You know why? They're not working. Okay, we are handing you on a silver platter what addresses the root cause. Now it's all natural. So you keep asking me, well, where's the phase 1, 2, and 3 trial? Why don't you ask the thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people across the country that's been taking this for the last 2, 3 years? Why don't you ask every doctor recommending it how they're witnessing every improvement to health? Okay, why don't you ask the psychologist that's watching mental disorders improve with this? Why don't you ask them? We have the phase 1 and 2 trial for COVID. This already is an all natural antiviral, according to Georgia State Virology Lab. And then it was tested in Rwanda under strict testing on 250 people. Everybody either cured COVID or didn't get it because this is an antiviral, like I say. We have that. Nobody got hurt. No adverse events. This has been on the market for over 10 years. Not one adverse event. What more proof do you need that this is working? But breaking into the Department of Defense, trying to educate them on how something that God created, that's not aligned with big pharma, it's a lot of work for me to keep going back and keep chipping away. You know what I mean, JR? But I do this work. This is not my product. I didn't invent this. I'm only representing the doctor and scientist, and I've come out of retirement and used my time, okay, and I don't get paid for it, to educate. I am educating everyone I can. And I don't know if I told you, by the way, JR, this was just onboarded in one of the biggest health retreat centers in America called Hippocrates Wellness in West Palm Beach, Florida. Dr. Josh Hellman, the former chief medical officer there, took this to the owner, Brian Clements, and his wife, Anna Maria Clements. They're a big deal. He's a biologist and a chemist, and he studied this. And they don't just take any product into this wellness center. This is a premier wellness center that JR, you should consider going there for a week. You spend whatever it is, $15,000, $20,000. You spend a week there. They will teach you things that will reset your life. Okay, they'll teach you how to eat live foods. I've broken bread with you. I've had dinner with you. You're not eating all the foods you should be eating. Sorry to tell you. Okay, they will teach you how to eat those foods. They will teach you how to walk barefoot. I just bought grounding shoes. Do you know what those are? Oh, hold on. The voice went off. Hold on.
I know exactly what those are.
Yeah, do you wear them?
Yeah, no, I don't. I do grounded barefoot because when I was in Costa Rica, that's how I was able to, you know what I'm saying, control my grounding and do it. I did my own modalities, but I don't have them
Oh,
shoes.
no, that's good. No, I do ground. I do barefoot too. I also hug trees. Don't
Yeah,
laugh at me.
yeah. No, I
When
do.
you
Yeah,
when you hug the tree and you're barefoot,
yeah,
the energy is circling all the way around from the tree to the foot to the head to the hands to the tree. The energy of the tree. Listen to this. Do you know where all the energy of the tree comes from? The root.
roots.
The roots are drawing from the universe. It's
Yeah,
called balancing the electrons.
right,
Okay, that's grounding. Proimmune, ironically, balances the electrons inside every cell of the body. Proimmune scavenges free radicals.
right,
Proimmune reduces reactive oxygen species.
right,
This is doing things on a scientific level. It's like grounding because this is nature in a jar.
right.
Okay, but yeah, so I wear grounding shoes. I do all these things like you because we have to take care of our cells, cells, inside. We have to take care of the inside. We have to eat healthy. We have to align consciousness. We have to do breathing exercises. We need to calm down, right? Even me at my age, I need to calm down and relax. But I get excited and I do this work for the veterans because, like I told the Department of Defense and other people, you're not doing anything to address their root causes. And do you know what you're doing for veterans? You're keeping them full of inflammation. You're keeping them full of oxidative stress. You're not taking out the oxidative stress. You're not lowering the inflammation. You're pumping them up with more heavy metals than the drugs. And this chelates heavy metals. So why wouldn't you want to use this? Who knows? Maybe they've got big contracts with the DOD, with the big pharma. I mean, I don't know. That's not my business. All I know is I'm not going to stop advocating and pleading with the powers that be to get this to the public. Get veterans on this. Get veterans to talk about this more so. And they could read articles in U.S. Veterans Magazine on my website about Promune and how it supports brain health, written by Dr. Edward Ted Fogarty, who reversed dementia with this. Okay, so we've got the science, we've got the evidence on my website, U.S. Veterans Magazine articles, thebestimmunesupport.com. If your veterans can use this, I give a code called Veterans20. Take 20% off. It's basically my commission as a distributor. I told Dr. Crum, the inventor of this, I don't want that commission. I want to give it to the veterans. Okay. For veterans, put in code Veterans20 at checkout, take 20% off. And I'm trying my best, JR, to help the veterans because who's helping them besides you?
Right,
Who?
definitely. And we
Who?
need more. We need more veteran advocates for, especially these natural products and things like that. Before there was the Operation Iraqi Freedom veterans in Afghanistan, and during all that, there was World War II veterans, World War I veterans, Vietnam, Korea veterans, and they didn't have none of these programs. They didn't know any of this. So I think our generation kicked the door down for a lot of the medical things that were going on right with veterans and exposing them to the older veterans. Now it's our turn again to say, you know what? Let's stand behind this pro immune. Let's stand behind it. You know what I'm saying? Because the veterans, we need options. We don't just need one. We need more modalities. I went to do a lot of healing. I did ayahuasca, I did bufo, I did Reiki. I did a lot of things to try to get myself back to where I needed to get back to. But there's no going back to that person, that inner child again. It's just more trauma that you have to be able to unpack. Say something is wrong with you. But I tell you what, every morning with my routine and Asawanga and my sea moss and my moringa and all that, I take my Proimmune, my green juice, and I
Yeah.
mix it in and I make sure that's part of my routine. I don't just take it once a day, I take it twice a day
Yeah,
because,
that's great.
yeah,
That's the protocol. Twice a day, morning, night. One scoop morning, night. Hope you're taking spirulina as well.
yeah, Spirit, I am taking all that stuff. I'm not, and like you just said, we take care of our cells, cells. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. In closing, before we wrap up, I just want to say, you know how we're going to help the veterans, JR? We're doing it right here, right now.
Right here. Yep.
Grassroots. All your friends, all your community, all my outreach. Oh, my Instagram, by the way, is Best Immune Support. If
Yes.
any of your tribe wants to say, let me get on this guy's Instagram, you start reading some of my posts, you're
Yeah.
going to be like, oh my God, everybody should be on this Promune. I got to,
Right.
and that's what's happening all over the country, by the way. This is a nationwide phenomenon right now. I
Right.
have families buying cases of this, putting the whole family on Promune. Why? Because they
Right.
don't want their kids getting the flu and the virus. They don't want these kids full of heavy metals and microplastics. So it
Right.
is becoming a phenomenon, but forget all that. I'm talking grassroots for the veterans. So we
Mm.
can help veterans. We have to find ways to talk about this and get veterans recommending it to other veterans friends. And like I said, I'm giving the discount the best I can do to make it affordable. But you can't tell me that no veteran, who's spending money on beer and Starbucks and bottled water every day can't afford $2 a day for the optimal health. Give up on Starbucks and make your coffee and your tea at home. There's your $2.
Right. Right.
Take a bottle of water from your filtered water from the house and save $2 there. It's not. This is not something that's not affordable. You just have to manage your money. That's what I did when I couldn't afford it.
Hmm.
I just said, well, I'm going to cut something else out that I'm wasting money on, and I'm going to put it into my health. That's how I did it before I was the distributor for this product. I became the distributor because the inventor is 90 years old, well, 94 now. He was too old to go out and distribute this around the country, and he begged me to do it. And first I said, no, 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 I'm retired. I don't want to work. And then I said, I have to do it. I have to do this because nobody else would know how to bring this across the country and make it nationwide. I did
Right.
that with friends
Yes.
like you who care, my friend. You care about people.
I
I've
do.
seen the things you do for pro bono. I've
Yeah.
seen what you do for free, no
Yes.
money. Okay. And if you knew what I did for free, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
That's people who care. That's who I am.
Right.
We're all one. We're all brothers. Every one of your friends suffering, they're my brother.
Right.
Okay. I'm here for them. That's why I do this work for their
Right.
children, for their families.
Right.
So
And we
I've got to
appreciate
jump
you.
off because I have a meeting to get to actually in 20 minutes. I have to drive across town.
Okay, we got about a couple more minutes, so I just want to make sure that we our chat that you guys understand we are live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube. We're going to be streaming on Spotify and Apple. We want to thank Mr. Joseph Casarino for coming in and just sitting down at the motivators table and telling us all about ProImmune, telling us about himself, who he is, telling us that his real character. And if you guys took a listen and you took a chance just to sit down and understand him, he is a man of faith. He's a man of, he has a big heart, big character. He wants to meet you at your level. He wants to understand. And we want to thank him. We want to thank him from the motivators. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that we let him know that, motivators, you got to mount up. And he's part of that motivators tribe now. And he allows me to pick his brain and mentor and be a mentee to him. And as I stand behind ProImmune and put this on every platform, I'm traveling around the world globally, booked and busy. And God has been good to me because God said it's harvest season. So right now, before we end this podcast, I want to always end it like this. I always tell my new viewers, my old viewers, my community, my chat, hey, chat, which one do you want to be? God put two animals on this earth that can sense when trials and tribulations are coming. They can sense it, and that's the cow or the bull. Which one do you want to be? The cow is going to continue to run from his problems, and that storm and trials and tribulations is going to follow him. Or you're going to be the bull. You're going to turn around and walk straight into the eye of that storm, that trial and tribulation. You're going to deal with it. You're going to get pro-immune. You're going to try to fix your situation so you can go tell someone else. So which one you want to be, chat? Do you want to be the cow or the bull? I see you tapping in. I see you chiming in. I know this is what we talk about. I wouldn't let Mr. Joseph leave without trying to motivate him and tell him, hey, Mr. Joseph, Guess what? You're doing a lot of motivational too. Where do the motivators come get motivated? They sit down here right at this table. We appreciate you. We care for you. We love you. Thank you for just hopping on out of your time. I know you're super, super busy. You in New York. Thank you. And I'm proud of you. And thank you for just allowing me to be a proud sponsor of Pro Immune. Thank you for just taking me underneath your wing and saying, "Hey, JayR, I know you have a voice for the veterans. Thank you for just showing up when you asked me and we talked about it. And now look at us. We here, and now we're talking about it. I know you got something to say. I'm gonna let you say it. Go ahead.
I have one thing to say in closing. I want to thank God Almighty. Okay, and I mean this. You and me meeting each other and being here, right now, helping your friends and our friends and veterans. This stems from God. This is how God works when you listen. When you're open to receiving and you listen, the miracles come. JR, you're a miracle. Okay, I hope to be a miracle. I hope to be a miracle to someone who's suffering and struggling. I had not a psychotherapist, a psychologist on a show 2 weeks in a row. She says every patient is improving mental disorders with this. And she told her patients, if you don't take Promune, I won't even work with you any longer.
Mm,
That's how much this is working. So I want to thank God because it's God who put me with you. I would not have or achieve anything, and I'm not talking money, by the way. I'm talking about this level of motivation. I couldn't do it without God interjecting and aligning me with the right people at the right time so we could join forces together and motivate together and educate together and uplift together and bring people up that are suffering. You know why, JR? They
mm,
lack one thing: hope.
mm,
HOPE. When I couldn't eat, 15 years ago, and I was ready to jump off a bridge, it was prayer and to God who saved me because I said a prayer to God. And you know what God said to me while I was praying and meditating? Go home. I have something coming for you that you cannot fathom. I was like, I gotta trust God. Go home. You're going to be okay. I have something coming for you. This is 15 years ago. Look at me today, 15 years from now. I'm
mm.
touring the country with doctors being invited to all these health conferences and platforms and podcasts and radio shows, uplifting people. Did I ever think this was going to happen when I couldn't even eat at the end of the week and couldn't rub a nickel together? No. Praise God. Go inside yourself, tap into your God power, your God strength. If the Promium helps you, take off 20% at checkout, actually, with code Veterans20. If this helps you, God bless you. Money back guarantee. You buy this, you don't like it, you just email me, I'll refund your check. This is not about hurting someone taking their money. This is not a scam. This is from the heart. And I haven't had one person ever ask me for the money back, JR. Not
Mm.
one person. This is about trust and God and truth and science and nature. God bless you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Hey, there you guys have it. Thank you, Mr. Joseph Casarino. We appreciate you for coming on the Motivators Table. Pull it up a seat and just let us know about who you are. And hey, this is where the motivators come get motivated. We appreciate you guys. I can't wait for you guys to see what we have next on our next episode. I love you.